We're continuing our series on suffering, and we're considering Buddhism. Buddha said that existence and suffering are one. They inevitably go together. So what does Buddhism give as the solution for suffering? Well, Buddha gives the Four Noble Truths. And these are the Four Noble Truths. One, suffering is an innate characteristic of each rebirth. And so the cause of suffering is desire. Number three, we can therefore end all suffering by ending all desire. And how do we do that? Fourth, by following the Eightfold Path. So that is what Buddhism says is the solution to suffering. But I appreciate this quote from E. Stanley Jones in his book, Christ and Human Suffering. He says this: Buddha was right in diagnosing our difficulty as desire. It is the desires of men reaching out to this thing and that thing that return to them disillusioned, pained, and suffering. We seem to be infinite beings trying to find satisfaction with finite things. The result? Suffering. Yes, Buddha was right in finding the root of our difficulty to be in desire, but he was wrong in the remedy. He would try to get rid of all desire when the fact is there is no possible way to get rid of one desire except to replace it by a higher desire. And the Bible says that there is strong desire, that we have strong desires. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says that we have eternity in our hearts. So the Bible, as well as Augustine and Aquinas, say that we have great desire. But they also say that our desire can be met. It can be met by God alone. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they rest in him. And Psalm 16:11 says, in the Lord's presence there is fullness of joy. At his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. So that is what we need to desire. And when we desire the Lord above all else, then other lesser desires, we can't be hurt by them, or at least not ultimately. And then let's think through the implications of the Buddhist view of suffering. The Buddhist view leaves people wanting to leave the earthly existence altogether and arrive at a passionless state of nirvana. This is the true solution from the Buddhist approach. The Christian view of suffering looks at suffering in a much more multi-dimensional way. From a Christian perspective, suffering is a result of sin and wrong desire. It's a result of war and human conflict, of living after the fall. And there's things like hurricanes and pandemics. It's a result of health issues and physical infirmities. It's a result of economic distress and human sinning against other humans. It's an effect of people abusing other people, whether that's people in power or just family structures. It's also a result of living for Christ. You know, sometimes people suffer for living for Christ. So for the Christian, the solution is much different as well. The solution is not leaving earthly existence. The solution is Jesus coming to earth and him always having the right desire and doing the right thing and suffering in our place. So the Buddhist view and the Christian view of suffering is much different. Of course, this is a brief introduction, but I hope you found it helpful. Thank you.